We're now joined by Skand Tayal, former diplomat. Thank you so much, Ambassador Tayal, for joining us. And your comments on, what we've seen so far today with the inauguration of the G20, the Prime Minister speaking about inclusivity, also saying we need to put differences aside, distrust aside and move forward as one, and already a big achievement with the African Union being included.
Yes, I think two main achievements. And African Union has not only been admitted but was given a place on the high table today itself. Yes. This is unprecedented. We saw in BRICS, after so many negotiations, 6 countries have been admitted, but they will come in January. We recall in SCO, it took years. India was a member, they said yes. So all that, I think, full credit to our diplomats, our Sherpa, that this would have already been pre-cooked. And it would have been agreed by all the members that African Union will be admitted today itself and will give it its position. And this will be a lasting contribution of India to G20, now G21, that because this expansion has not taken place since G20 was established. And it corrects an anomaly. G20 has 19 countries. Why European Union is there? Just because they are the rich countries? So now, when Prime Minister talks about inclusive growth, when he talks about human-centric approach, the people of Africa need to be included in any discussion about the growth, about economy, about financial issues of global level. And only South Africa is a member at present of G20 from African continent. So it's a great achievement. Absolutely, credit should go to India under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. One. Second, the point he made very clearly in his public statement that there is Vishwas ka abhav, trust deficit. See, when G20 was established and raised to the summit level in 2008, there was some degree of harmony among the member countries. There were political differences, there were strategic rivalries, but there was some good dialogue, discussion, diplomacy. But because of COVID, when the supply chains were very clearly disrupted, and some countries took a very nationalistic kind of stand, even saving and securing only vaccines only for themselves and not sharing with the outside world, and similarly other equipment, health equipment, etc. And as Prime Minister mentioned, after the Yudh, after the war, he did not use the term Ukraine very politically very wise. I mean, but so now there is no harmony in the group of 20. There are problems between India and China, there are problems between US and China, there are problems between West and China, there are problems between West and Russia, and dialogue is getting difficult. So he's trying to alert the world and the leaders that let us try to bridge this trust deficit so that together one can meet the challenges. He says there are old challenges, but which have to be fought now with new solutions.
New solutions to it, yes.
New solutions have to be found because the old solutions have not worked. And so I think it's a very good, the stage has been set for a very good dialogue, a very good interaction. And we hope to see a very positive outcome. Our Sherpa Amitabh Khan talked about 50 deliverables and almost 35 actionable points. Because we have seen some of these declarations of G20 and even other organizations like BRICS and SCO, they are aspirational documents which do not have anything, numbers or targets that something will be done in such a frame of time, and they are forgotten the day after they are adopted. I hope that the way our government functions, the way Prime Minister Modi functions, that there must be some action, not just words. I am sure it will be translated into good points in the final, whether it's a declaration or a summary by the chairman. Really, I don't give it much attention. But what are the actionable points that world will see with care?
Right. So we're also joined by Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat, and Vijay Kant Karna, former ambassador, also joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. And Ambassador Dayal, to you now, we're talking about the challenges. We spoke about, the big achievement this morning, the African Union being included in the G20 and being invited right to the table this morning itself. But everyone, the foreign media, all focused on whether we will have that Delhi declaration and the kind of balancing act that India is having to do. And hopefully we will be able to hammer out something that's acceptable to all, but a huge balancing act for India given the way the geopolitics is currently, and also a huge opportunity for India.
Well, geopolitics is a reality, and we have been doing our best to face up to all the challenges which the geopolitical changes are bringing forth. Now, we have been repeatedly emphasizing that there is a need to reform international institutions, especially the United Nations, so that the global challenges can be overcome. Unfortunately, the UN is increasingly becoming a talk shop. It lacks teeth and it lacks credibility. The UN really was set up in 1945, but the world has changed so much. And that is why we are emphasizing that in a time and day and date when the world is becoming multipolar, there is a need to give more importance and emphasis to platforms like the G20 so that today's challenges can be tackled. Now, that is the role that India is playing. India is bringing together not just the G20 countries, but in fact a whole host of other nations. The African Union was admitted today as a member. That means about 50 countries. We have invited a number of guest countries. Then we have invited a number of international institutions. So it's not just a G20, in fact it's more like a G120. 120 important decision-making institutions and countries, so that the challenges which are so important can be tackled. Now, what are these challenges? Of course, there is no doubt that the Russia-Ukraine war is casting a shadow. And while the G20 is an economic institution, as we all know, but it is also a fact that political strife casts its long shadow over economic cooperation, and the Russia-Ukraine war is doing that, as also the US-China conflict. But there are important issues like the food security, the energy security, connectivity, supply chain, renewable energy, climate change. These all need to be overcome, and that is why India has tried to bring together all these different countries and institutions. We are trying to hammer out a joint statement. Our diplomats are extremely capable of working out an agreed statement. There are differences between different sides, but we will try to find common ground, and I do hope that at the end of it all, we will have a joint statement.
Right, might require a bit of, jugglery and acrobatics in terms of the framing and the language and the semantics of it. Ambassador Karna, if we, Delhi Declaration aside and the African Union being included, but it's already, there have been so many achievements as far as the G20 presidency goes. India's had this absolutely fantastic opportunity to really display and our big pride. Our digital infrastructure is something that has, been commented on and will be helping other countries as well. Yesterday with Bangladesh also signing an MOU on digital, our help to them digitally. So all this has already been something, and it's been a great opportunity for India to showcase so many of our achievements, as well as push the Western countries for to give help to the global South and other developing nations.
Thank you. Actually, what I see that the India has proved its leadership in making it G20 as a G21 today as inclusive. First thing, that one. And this is a far more departure that Africa was left out for such a long time. In 16, 17 years of time, Africa was not included. and it has been proved by the Indian Prime Minister and the government of India, Indian diplomats, that they have been working for the inclusive in different sectors. First thing, I would like to congratulate Indian people and the region as a whole, as I belongs to Nepal. And from Nepal, what I have seen that there are 3-4 major achievements, which is not actually contradictory or any opposition, that the digital technology for data use for health, and it's a unique opportunities, ability to work with a diverse set of international actors, and it's creating a confluence of opportunity that can be leveraged in the presidency of the G20. So this is what I found that, and then another was a financial and digital connectivity. As you said that there are a lot of countries bilaterally agreed on that. So these are, because this cross-border payment is a bigger problem of its inefficiencies of the payment. And another what I have seen that the money laundering and terror financing, it is also it is being discussed at that. This is also another challenge for the world at the moment. What I found that after the COVID, as the Prime Minister Modi said, that we all together, but I do agree with Mr. Dayal that supply.
All right, we seem to have a problem there, but Ambassador Kantayal, coming back to you, if we can just, also talk about India's achievement so far, as we've been, pointing out, and the bilaterals, that's been another, and yes, every G20 you do have bilaterals as all the countries come together, but it's been quite something. Yesterday we began with Mauritius and Bangladesh, and then with the US President. That is a relationship that's been, just growing over these last couple of months. 3 months ago, you had the Prime Minister being feted in the US, and now the US President right here, and both countries really need one another. The US needing India at this time when the hostilities with Russia and with China, and India using this opportunity, a China slowdown also being talked about, and as an opportunity to really push themselves on the world stage.
See, Mauritius is an old civilizational friend. Bangladesh, the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been very good for India, and relations have really gone forward. So every time they meet, there's another step to take the relationship forward and stronger. But with the United States and President Biden, I think it has been something very special. The June meeting and the way Prime Minister Modi was feted by the American President, society, entire society and establishment. The way forward for India-America partnership was decided then. That it is not just a strategic partnership, it is a partnership for future technology, it is a partnership for future manufacturing, and it is a partnership also between the people of India and United States, our 3 million diaspora and all of that.
Right.
So bilateral yesterday was to consolidate the gains. The direction has already been set.
Yes.
At the June summit. Now it should be paced. The outcome should be visible, and we saw some good outcomes, because the procedures in the United States are of congressional approvals, etc. required, which has been done for the GE aircraft engines, and the commercial negotiations will now start between General Electric and HAL. And similarly for the drones, the Reaper drones, then 500 million has been promised for the greenfield renewable energy projects. Again, this is a green hydrogen and all that. That is really the technology of the future, and the two countries are moving forward very fast, and that is very encouraging.
Absolutely. And this morning, the news that India and US have hammered out the last WTO issue as well. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, today the bilaterals are going to be with UK, Japan, Germany and Italy. Which is the one that you're really looking out for?
Well, all of them.
Yeah,
but
the big one.
With Japan,
yes,
we have something in common as regards the threat from China. We face Chinese territorial aggression, as do the Japanese. Tensions between China and India are high, as also are tensions between China and Japan. So significantly, we have made this announcement yesterday that we would be hosting the next Quad Summit in New Delhi next year. This is significant because of the fact that we place a lot of emphasis on maintaining supply lines and ensuring that the Indo-Pacific region remains peaceful and free of turmoil. Now, the Indo-Pacific region is being disturbed because of Chinese expansionism. And by emphasizing the importance of the Quad between the meetings with President Biden and Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister Modi then announcing that the next Quad Summit would be held next year, I think the message goes across to the Chinese. Now, we are all discussing from time to time why Xi Jinping did not attend the summit. Well, Xi Jinping would have felt like an odd man out. President Putin in any case had said he is not coming. Now, Prime Minister Modi's global stature today is much, much higher than that of Xi Jinping. Why do I say so? Because Chinese policies have ended up in entrapping a whole host of countries in debt, while India is trying its level best to seek debt restructuring and helping countries of the global south to once again stand on their feet as far as financial structures are concerned. So while on the one hand, India is emerging as a friend of the global south and as a voice of the global south, China comes across as the oppressor of the global south. So I was not surprised that Xi Jinping stayed away, because he would have been astounded by the magnificence of what we have put up for the G20, the Bharat Mandapam. And in addition, he would have been totally surprised and taken aback by the sort of popularity which Prime Minister Modi enjoys in the global fraternity.
All right. So while it's a huge challenge, balancing all this for India, but a huge opportunity as well. I'm completely out of time. Thank you so much all for joining us.